And here we go. Weekly Astro Forecast, Holiday Edition. How are we doing, everybody? I'm so excited for this forecast, you guys. Why? Well, it's almost a new year. And I think we all can say that we're really excited and okay with saying goodbye to 2025. And all the ups and downs, all the lessons. Oh my gosh, we have a lot to talk about, you guys. How are we doing today? I hope everybody had a really beautiful and wonderful holiday, whatever you celebrate. And this year just really felt so different. It felt so much more intentional. And it really showed where we're at specifically in our Jupiter journey. Because with Jupiter, we're looking at excess and grandiose, expressions of love and care and, this big energy. Santa Claus is Jupiter, essentially, of the celestial sky, okay? So when we're talking about our Jupiter energy, we look at wherever we have Jupiter in our chart and how this energy is being activated and softened with the current transit of Jupiter in Cancer. And I wanted to talk about Jupiter specifically and also Uranus because currently we don't have a lot retrograde. We don't have anything retrograde besides those two planets. So we have Jupiter retrograde in Cancer and we have Uranus in Taurus retrograde. So what that means, you guys, is we're looking at our sense of self-doubt. That is really a big one coming up for a lot of us as we enter kind of that interesting space of the end of the year where we really do take, accountability and look back. We take that Capricornian energy, right, of let me reassess my roles and my responsibilities and how I show up for them and really whether or not I believe in them, to keep going. Do I believe what I'm building my life around? And Sagittarius, all that Sagittarius we had really brought out that fire, that creativity, and that inner knowing of how to move forward. It's less in that watery, emotional energy, right? But we still feel that quite heavily with that Jupiter in Cancer retrograde. So for me, I know I've been in the kitchen a lot, doing a lot of baking. That's been so healing. And whenever we're looking at the specific astrology and how it relates to us, you could just start with the very basics. So for example, baking in the kitchen. Baking is either going to be Taurus or Cancer, looking into where we have Cancer in our chart. I have Chiron in Cancer. Jupiter is in Cancer, so it's healing and activating me on such a deep level through such a basic task. And that's the beauty of association with astrology, where we can really play the matching game of this to this is the opposite of this is used to create balance and wholeness, right? And so we see this really beautiful contrast of energy and dual nature in energy. And next year, that's really going to be amplified with with Uranus in Gemini. And so that's going to happen around July. We still have some transits before that I'm definitely going to get into that are very exciting and monumental and new and an energy that we're not familiar with within the past, 14-year cycle, basically. These are energies that we really haven't felt as much yet as a collective, and I'm so eager myself personally to see how that's going to show up for everybody. So touching back on the retrograde planets that we have going on, you guys. So Chiron retrograde, I really wanted to talk about this because not only do, these holiday times bring up, our urge to really find peace, really find contentment in our everyday life and see what we have, be grateful for what we have. We think about the signs and their elements, their holidays, their traditions, and we're in Capricorn season now. Happy Capricorn season, everybody. Happy birthday to the Capricorns out there. You guys are amazing. And in Capricorn season, we have Christmas, right? So it's the idea and the symbology and the history and tradition of the light returning and reactivating, and really getting an inner sense of what that spirituality looks like for you. And it may look very traditional, it may look very non-traditional, it may look completely different. But the beauty of coming together as a family and talking about those differences and those beliefs and how we live our philosophies is part of what makes us so diverse and dynamic. And there's beauty in the differences with all of us, you guys. So the retrograde with Chiron specifically, you guys, Chiron in Aries retrograde, this has been basically the replaying of old stories. There's been a lot of this like self-doubt and like kind of fear of going forward with certain projects because we're thinking back to previous experiences, feeling broken, feeling behind, feeling like we have these expectations of ourselves. And yes, there's no one else saying you need to do this, but there's this inner responsibility. And that's where we really have to weigh out, you know, input versus outcome, and really kind of have faith in that, knowing, hey, this is going to take work, but it's something I love. You know, we really have to take that into account. So shame spirals can be happening with that Chiron retrograde, making us feel like, do I even identify with this? Is this part of my value system? And that's where we're at. That's a beautiful place to be at the end of the year, where we're stepping into the new year in that Capricornian energy of, I'm disciplined, I'm ready to be serious about my goals, to really think about my long-term goals. You know, this has been a time, a season of reality check and really a structural focus. What I love about Uranus and Taurus is teaching us so much about our nervous system and our senses, and letting that be our guide and our pathway to what we need to work on, right? On an emotional level, on a relationship dynamic. And, you know, that retrograde is, again, it's a time to review and to sit with the honest truth of where we're at and how we feel. And Jupiter in Cancer retrograde has helped us get in touch with our feelings and really get in touch with what we want to do moving forward, who we want to be, how we want to present ourselves, how we want to, you know, go to bed at night knowing what we've done throughout the day and how we've made a difference, and really taking that responsibility to the next level. We have Venus that just moved into Capricorn, you guys. So this is about traditional love, about creating a legacy together, about building a strong foundation. The non-commitment energy or the non-serious energy is not really right now, okay? This is a more serious energy of taking our commitments to the next level, of really, you know, and this goes for our multi facets of our life right now. This is our finances, our relationships. It has a more serious and practical tone because we want to get serious about how that comes in next year. We still don't want to be working on our worthiness and our deservingness at this point next year. It's going to be go time. Things are going to be so much faster, and the pace is just going to feel very different. And that's going to be showing up on the individual level, where you really have to honor that pace. So it's been a lot, but it's been good and it's been deep. And that's the kind of stuff I love as a Scorpio, is just like, hey, there's a lot we can transform, but there's also the time where we have to embody the opposite sign, right? Taurus, of joy and new traditions and our self-worth and really what we value, you know, family and good times together and quality, right? So we can really kind of think of our mantra right now is, you know, 'tis the season of nervous system healing and doing whatever we need to do on that individual level to show up with more grace and inner peace and, you know, conflict resolution. There's a lot of this like tolerance energy, and Capricorn shows us where we feel disappointed, where we feel like we've been let down, where we stood up to our responsibilities and that energy wasn't met, that commitment wasn't met. So we have to really balance out these feelings and also know how to really move through it. Capricorn is an earth sign, so it's like, go outside, lift some weights, you know, be in an energy that feels supportive, that feels grounded, that feels really connected to nature as well. So I'm sending you guys so much love. Thank you guys so much for being here and tuning in every week and connecting and sharing what placements you have and how it's showing up for you. You know where to find me if you need a reading, and I have a sale going on at my shop, so feel free to check out my services. Everything is 30 bucks off, and I would love, love, love to work together. So have an amazing rest of your holiday, you guys. All the love, and I will see you guys next year for the next one. Bye.